I wanted to take the plunge and lean in, or as I've always been into Nike, just do it. But I didn't do it. I wanted to take a page out of my physics textbook and convert potential energy to kinetic energy. For all the nerds in the room, take that moment where anything could happen and actually make it happen. But I didn't. And with my first kiss, I didn't really do it. I mean, I kind of had her do it. But with Anjali, it was on. A mutual friend in Cincinnati told me that she was really into me, and I was, no way. This girl is like so, no way. She's beautiful, completely out of my league, no, not a chance. She goes, no, she is, and so I got her phone number, I called her up, and I set up the most amazing date. Now guys do, prep everything. It's just oh, the farther out of your league she is, you have to do that. So if the guy has no plans for you, that's the one. Hey, your issue, not mine. Okay. So, set up, I had an itinerary for this girl, and then she comes over to my place, and we sit on the couch, and we talk for 3 hours. We're so into each other that all this time passes by. We don't even leave the apartment until finally we get hungry, and we go across the street to the supermarket, and we get strawberries and whipped cream. And this is a true story. We come back to the couch, and I lather them up, and I feed her strawberries on our first date. And I walk her down to her car, and I said, can I get a kiss? I think my voice cracked just like that too. And she goes, well, I like hugs better. She hugged me and she drove away. Dude, seriously, really? I mean, the friend zone after the strawberries and the whipped cream and everything, how do you get friend zoned after that? And I just decided, if I'm going to be the tragic hero, at least I'm going to be the kind that gets some, And so on our second date, I asked her to come up with me to Mount Adams, which is this hill in Cincinnati, and it offers beautiful views of this Midwestern town. Fast food, chili joints, and fat people, and mostly from the chili joints. And so we're sitting there under the stars, and it's beautiful, and she's beautiful, and she starts telling me all about her ex-boyfriend. Yeah, buzzkill, totally. So I was like, I can't. No, you know what? No. I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna hit the reset button, and we're gonna move over. So I took her by the hand. And we sat down on this great stone wall, and we're talking a little bit, and we're getting a little closer. And I'm about to do it, and I noticed this group of guys in this parking lot. And they're laughing really loud, and I'm afraid that maybe they're laughing at me. And so I'm like, Debbie, and. But I'm like, no, you know what? No, I kissed somebody. I'm kissable. I can do this. I can totally do this. So I saw her hug and I raised her a kiss. I did it. I just did it. I think I was wearing Nikes at the time, and so it began. Anjali, my first relationship, my longest relationship. First girl who told me she loved me back. First girl I took home to my parents. My first breakup. Anjali is my super ex-girlfriend. Nothing to say about that. Okay. So we dated from right before 9/11 into the beginning of 2005. George W. Bush's first term, just for context. And we became adults together. We bought a house. I bought a house. She helped me decorate it. We bought our first cars together. We started working at the same company. I was working at Procter & Gamble, P&G, Punjabis and Gujaratis. And it was great. It's the world's largest consumer products company, if you don't know of P&G. They make Tide and Era and Bounce and Downy and the entire laundry aisle. And they make Duracell and Olay and Gillette and Bounty, Always, Tampax. Oh, that's right. I lost my virginity to Anjali. Love the association. Okay. Yeah, that's right. I remember we were in bed, Anjali and I, and she dropped some very subtle hint. She said something like, I want you to do me so bad. I read between the lines on that one, and And I really, I mean, it was about time. I was born when Gerald Ford was president, for context. And so I'm at Walgreens condom shopping, and doing that thing where you kind of make sure no one's in the aisle. Okay. And then I pick up a box. I'm an optimist, and I take him to the front of the store, and I look for the checkout girl who looks like she might have the most sexual experience. Okay, her. And I figured, she'll understand. And so I get the condoms. I take them back to the apartment, and we do it. And needless to say, it was pretty awesome. Not so much the losing your virginity at 25 part, but the losing your virginity to a 10 was definitely pretty awesome. And I wouldn't even really call it losing my virginity. I mean, I threw it away with both hands. Very clever. Very clever. Actually, right about the time I had gotten more into stand-up comedy because of jokes like that. And a few years before this, Jane had got me into stand-up, and my brother and actually my funny uncle and my friend in third grade had made me a funny person. But Jane had introduced stand-up to me, and my brother Rakesh said to me, he goes, "Why don't you enter the funniest person in Cincinnati contest?" And I'd never written, I'd written some material, but I never thought this would be a stand-up. When I entered it, I made the semifinals, and the next year I won it. And the prize was you got to become an MC. You got to be a host for a weekend, the first guy that comes out and tells some jokes, and I never took the weekend. I just never took the prize. I just wanted to see if I could win it. And that was a few years before Anjali. And right about this time, I had started to get more and more serious about comedy, ironically. And the manager of Go Bananas Comedy Club in Cincinnati finally said to me, because I kept going back like every 6 months, and he goes, "You need to, decision, in or out, in or out. You're taking up stage time. Are you going to do it?" I go, "Yes, fine. I'm in to stand up. Let's do this." And what ended up happening is Anjali and I just grew apart. I mean, that's the downside of becoming adults together. You can become two different people separately. And there's a difference between supporters and believers. Supporters are your loved ones. They love you, so they support you, and they kind of have to. But believers, it's different. It happens in their eyes. You can see it over time, and suddenly it's like, oh, wow, you're actually going to do this. And Anjali supported me. She thought I was hilarious, because I am. But she didn't really believe I could necessarily become a stand-up comic. And the thought of ending up with a comedian as a husband scared her to death. And I found that totally fair. I was literally an amateur at the time, and that was that. I remember she would say things to me like, you know how you just drift apart, right? And she would say something to me like, hey, maybe it's a timing thing. Maybe if we met a few years from now, it would be different. And I remember thinking, no, timing is a lie. If two people are right for each other, the timing has nothing to do with it, and that's ludicrous. It's got to be something else. And it was something else, because I had developed a herniated disc in my neck, and I just stopped trying to be a man altogether. I stopped working out. It precluded me from doing certain things, like moving boxes, keep it clean. And I guess I just got comfortable, and I guess I always thought in a relationship that's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to get comfortable, maybe even dance to Kesha comfortable. That's the whole point. A relationship shows someone who you really are, right? Well, she just stopped seeing me that way, and we stopped being intimate, and I think I'm the only person I know who got friend zoned while in a relationship. And January 2005, we had our last kiss and a hug, and she drove away. And I saw her one other time though. Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle. He made his triumphant return to the stage after his bizarre excursion to Africa following his self-extrication from Chappelle's show. You probably remember this. It was all over national news. He left and he went to Africa, and he was coming back to the Cincinnati Funny Bone. You gotta love the names of these comedy clubs. Cincinnati Funny Bone, to do stand-up comedy for the first time since he got back from Africa, because he's from Ohio, town like an hour north of me in Ohio. And I go up to the general manager that week, and I'm like, I'd love to open for Dave Chappelle. That'd be awesome. And she goes, no. No. He's bringing his own guy. There's no way. And then, so, all right, fine. So that she friends on me. And so I went to the club with 10 of my friends, and it's a minute before showtime. And she comes up to me, the general manager comes up to me and she goes, he didn't bring anyone, you want to do 5? And I'm like, dude, just give me 2 minutes. She goes, you don't have 2 minutes, you got 1 minute. Do you want to do it or not? And I'm like, yes, give me the mic, I'll do it, let's go. And I had opened for Dave Chappelle a few years before this at the University of Cincinnati, my alma mater, the school that I actually graduated from. And I had been doing material for 30 seconds in front of Dave Chappelle, and I got booed off stage. By 1,000 people, okay, at my college that I could not now transfer away from. So, 5 years before this, I don't know how stand-up years compare with dog years, but it was a long time. So there I was looking to redeem myself. It's a packed house. Everybody's yelling, bring them out, bring them out. It's Chappelle, very, very first show back from Africa, national news. I'm there with 10 of my friends, sold out. Anjali is there with her new boyfriend, and I kill because I'm hilarious. And the place goes absolutely nuts. Everybody goes crazy. And I really believe that the smaller we are, the bigger we dream. And so I clearly have some, larger-than-life fantasies. But I could not write bigger than that. That was pretty awesome. And right about that time, I started doing this bit in my stand-up act where I said the reason that Anjali and I did not work out was she was my first love. And I grew up watching The Price is Right. And you never bid on the first showcase. Right? The first showcase is always like a lifetime of Panama Jack sunglasses and a chest of drawers. The second showcase is the new car, the trip to Hawaii. So that bit is funny because it's true, but it's not true because I didn't pass on Anjali. Anjali passed on me. And that was that. She got out of my life, and it was really hard at the time. I wish I had a better punchline to go here, but sometimes that's just life. Yeah, that was Anjali. What can you do? So it was time to get out of Cincinnati. This was March of 2006. That town was not big enough for the two of us. So, Los Angeles, here I come. I turned 30, March 2006, I turned 30 and I moved to Los Angeles because that's what you do when you turn 30. You get out of your 20s and you have to leave the middle of the country. Everybody's married, you got to move to the coast. So, that's true, right? So I became the brand manager of Fiji Water, the square bottled water, and I worked that job for 12 weeks before I jumped ship, and I went into stand-up comedy full time.
How many pants do you have?
We're getting there. Stay tuned. But if you gotta go to the bathroom, get up and go to the bathroom. So that's I'm not insulted by that. Yeah. So now, I'm in Los Angeles. I've got no, well, hey, I'm trying out a new style. I just got to LA, man. I don't know what I'm doing yet. I've got no boss. I'm in LA. I've got no boss. I've got no wife. I live in the United States of America, and I'm a free man. I'm the definition of a free man. But I'm in the United States of America, but not just anywhere in the United States of America. I live in Los Angeles, where even a free man can feel trapped. I had never been in a place where it felt like the entire town was out of my league. It was really hard. Dating here is really hard, and people say, oh, dating's hard everywhere. Screw you. You don't know what it's like to live in Los Angeles, okay? LA is a special kind of dating hell, all right? And I think the reason, right, is, I've got a theory on it, of course, the reason is that everybody's selling and nobody's buying, okay? That is the reason, all right? This town is all about, come see me at the Laugh Factory, or subscribe to my newsletter, or listen to my podcast, or read my blog, and that's just me. But the minute another entertainer says, dude, you should come to the Rainbow Room and listen to my band, I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do that. your play or your one-man show. I don't want to see any of that. But then people will say that to me. They're like, well, that's not fair. I came to see you at the Laugh Factory. I'm like, that's right. You came, I got you free tickets, you laughed, you left. Our relationship is in equilibrium, okay? It's in balance. I do not need to come see you at the Rainbow Room. We do not need to create this infinite feedback loop of factories and rainbows, okay? It does not need to exist. This everybody's selling mentality is understandable. This is why we came to Los Angeles. Okay, I get it. We're all here to make it. I understand it. But the problem is it permeates the dating scene. So the thing is, nobody wants to actually buy. Nobody wants to make an offer and finally settle down. That's exactly the problem with Los Angeles. All right. So I wouldn't get very far. I would take girls out for drinks. I just wouldn't get very far. And what made it very difficult for me specifically is that I started hosting corporations and colleges and comedy clubs hire me, but I started hosting weddings, Indian weddings. I started performing at Indian weddings, hosting, doing stand-up, and it was great money, but it was very, very difficult to keep seeing these beautiful Indian girls get married weekend after weekend after weekend, and having their moms and their aunties, "Beta, when are you going to get married?" I've been asked that question more times than everyone here combined. I meet more Indian girls than anybody on the planet, except maybe an OBGYN in Artesia. Maybe. I was determined to make this move to LA work, but I was alone, and I was miserable, and I was tired of using Jack Daniels as my wingman. So I picked up a copy of The Game by Neil Strauss, the guy who wrote the Pickup Artist book. Yeah, I know, it's so douchey, but I was desperate, and it's a despicable thing to do, but I had no game at this point in time. My game was to beg, basically. That was I sounded the same whether I was asking a girl to give me some or a serial killer to free me from captivity, honestly. There was no difference in the text. Please, come on, man, please, like, come on. Why me? What have I done to deserve this? So I had no game, and people are always like, does the game work? Does it work? I'm like, yeah, it does. I originally read it for personal branding reasons, and that's why people read The Game, right, as a brand manager. But it does work, and I wish I had a story to go along with it, but it was so straightforward. I would meet a girl at a bar, I would walk up to her, I would use the techniques, I'd get her phone number, we'd go back to my place, we'd hook up, yada, 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 and that was that. The only time I got a little bit of resistance was initially this girl told me, she goes, well, I've got a serious boyfriend. I go, you need a funny one. Boom! That works. So no story. Well, except one. I was up in